Back again with another video. This week, we're discussing about Ruben Amorim future at Manchester United. After that heavy defeat against Manchester City, we all heard what he said, that he's not going to change his philosophy, he's not going to change his methodology, he's not going to change his ideas on how he wants the team to play. uh, you know, and the message is very clear from him. I am who I am. If you don't like me, get rid of me. He is simply sacking himself. So now we all know the problem at Manchester United. Since the time he took over, everyone is talking about his system, his philosophy, and how these players are playing out of position. There is no shame in change for me, and a good manager, adapts. And Ruben Amorim doesn't seem to be that guy who wants change. And it has been finally revealed that he's been given 3 games, to change things around. That's last chance for Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. And next week is against Chelsea. Then there's Sunderland should be so, and Brentford. That's 9 points in 3 games. In the former, I think after Chelsea game, if we lose against Chelsea, for me it's already a bad record. 5 games in the Premier League, a 3 lost, a 1 win, and one a draw. That's like 4 points out of possible 21. So it should be gone, and by then it should be gone after Chelsea game. He's been given chance, he's been backed enough. He came in at the club, he made his own changes. And I would simply say, Ruud van Nistelrooy saved us from relegation last season. Because if Ruben Amorim took over immediately after Ten Hag got sacked, those games that Ruud managed at Manchester United in the Premier League, if it was Ruben Amorim, definitely we would have lost those games. And minus those games from where Manchester United finished last season, it simply tells you that we would have been relegated that time. So that's the story about Ruben Amorim. Now, the major question now is, what if the club decides to move on from Ruben Amorim? There's some names of managers that possibly could replace Ruben Amorim if the club would decide to part ways with him. There's number one, Andona Ilayola from Bournemouth. He's done a very good job at Bournemouth. Actually, I did watch him as a player back in 2014. I think before he retired. When he played for Atletico Bilbao, he was a light back. As a manager also, I'm seeing what he's done at Bournemouth. The time he left Leo Varacano and joined Bournemouth, and since then the club has been performing well. Producing some good players like Miro Kekes, who went on and signed for Liverpool in a huge transfer fee. That tells you how good the manager is. At the club, and also on the player side. There's also a Unai Emery from Aston Villa. We all know Unai Emery. What he's done so far at Villa. Though he didn't have a good time in the Premier League when he managed at Arsenal, and he went back to Spain and came back at Villa in the English Premier League, and now he's still with Aston Villa. Though this season, things doesn't look well for him. Also, he seems to be under pressure. He's one of the candidates that Manchester United are looking forward. That's if they move on from Ruben Amorim. The third one is Xavi Hernandez, a former Barcelona manager. He won one La Liga title with Barcelona, and later on, the club decided to make a change, and they moved on from Xavi Hernandez, and they have someone else. He's one of the candidates also linked to replace Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. So let me just talk about these 3 managers. Ilayola, for me, of overhyping managers in the Premier League, should come to an end, especially for Manchester United. Being a big club, this club should learn, from the experience, from the past experience that's been happening at the club. I'll give you an example of Graham Potter. He had a very good season at Brighton before he was signed by Chelsea. At the moment when he left Brighton, sorry, and went to Chelsea, we all saw what happened to him at Chelsea. The poor record that he had at Chelsea, it could simply tell you that some managers are just better off, staying in their lane and manage those a mid-table team. Same as Manchester United now. They had a lot of option in that previous summer to replace Ten Hag. And they went on and picked Ruben Amorim, because he was so overhyped, and now he's at Manchester United. Now look at what is happening. Now they are looking at the the possibility of Andona Iraola, Xavi. Xavi is going to struggle in Manchester United. That's not La Masia. La Masia, they got their own system, how they play their football aside. Him coming to the Premier League, especially at Manchester United, looking at the problem that the club is facing now. I don't think he is a better option to take over from Ruben Amorim if the club decides to part ways with him. Unai Emery also, he's a very good coach, yeah, but the way he's struggling this time around in Villa, I don't think you pick up when it comes to Manchester United. So I think they should just try whatever they can do and pick a light manager. That's if they decide to part ways with Ruben Amorim.